On a broader basis here, how confident are you that the banking crisis per se is over, or that there won't be another one coming?
No, I fully expect more problems in the financial industry around the world. The problems haven't been solved; they've been papered over for the moment. But the idea, Lindsay, that you can solve a problem of too much debt and too much consumption with more debt and more consumption, that defies comprehension to me. Only a politician or a bureaucrat or an academic could come up with some kind of solution like that. I just don't see how this is making things better. It's making things worse. The Federal Reserve has at least tripled its balance sheet. The American government has at least quadrupled its amount of debt in the last year or two. The UK government is doing the same sort of things, if not more. No, we're going to have more problems down the road. It may lead to more government bankruptcies, but that doesn't solve our problems. That makes them worse.
How would the problems be solved, in your view?
Well, in my view, the same thing that the Scandinavians did in the early 90s. You let people go bankrupt. You take your pain. You reorganize. You let the assets be liquidated. I mean, the Scandinavians had this problem. They let everybody, they didn't let, they were forced to let, the problems go into bankruptcy, and they reorganized and started over. And as you know, after 2 or 3 years of serious pain, they had a big recovery for a decade or so. In America and the West, we've had a long decade of unbelievable excess. These have been some of the worst excesses ever known in the debt markets, perhaps ever in the history of the world. You can't just solve that kind of excess in a quarter or a year or two. That kind of excess has to be cleaned out. And the way you do it is you realize you made mistakes and start over. But by adding more debt to a problem created by too much debt and too much excess doesn't solve your problem. And the only way you're going to do it is to let people reorganize, let competent people come, take over the assets from the incompetent people, and start over. But that takes time.
Right, right. So what do you see happening now that, in your view, the governments aren't allowing the system to actually reboot itself in a sensible way?
You're showing your age by saying reboot itself. That's wonderful. I'm going to try to remember to use that term myself. Well, the problems there are that some governments have taken on too much debt, stupendous amounts of debt, and some of them are going to have problems meeting their obligations down the road. They will probably print more money as a way to solve that. Now, that will lead to more inflation, more currency turmoil, more commodity appreciation of real assets as people flee paper money. And some countries are going to come out ahead, and some countries are going to come out behind. And the trick, of course, is to read the Financial Times and see which ones will come out ahead and which ones will come out behind.
And what's your view on that? Because obviously China's your big
Well, no,
interest.
I have investments in China, and I'm optimistic about China. My children are learning Chinese, or are not learning, speak Chinese, because I'm optimistic about the future of China. But if you go back to the 20s and 30s, America suffered. Even though America was the next great country in the world, America suffered very, very badly in that period of time, and partly because they helped cause the problem. Don't think that China won't suffer badly if things start going wrong. I presume that if the world goes through horrible turmoil and China gets hurt badly, they will come out of this on the other side better placed, just as America did. Real assets will be the best place to be, commodities, because if the world economy gets better, the shortage is developing in commodities. If the world economy does not get better, you still want to own commodities because governments are printing so much money. And if the world economy does not get better, they're going to print even more money. So the only thing I know in a time like that is to own real assets, hard assets, because that's what will go up as a way to protect yourself. Some countries will be better placed. Brazil has a lot of natural resources. Canada does. These kinds of countries, in theory, as long as they're well managed, will do better than countries than Belgium or the UK, which don't have a lot of natural resources.